You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
Thanks to Concordia University, Wisconsin for supporting The Coffee Hour. Find out more about Concordia University, Wisconsin at cuw.edu.
Live uncommon.
Joining us today is Kara Warme. She's the troop coordinator for American Heritage Girls at St. Paul Lutheran Church in Ames, Iowa. That's Troop IA2016. Kara, thanks so much for joining us on The Coffee Hour.
Yes, my pleasure.
Well, I am interested in hearing your story, learning more about American Heritage Girls at St. Paul Lutheran Church in Ames, Iowa, and how you got involved with American Heritage Girls.
Yes, I had grown up in Girl Scouts all the way until high school and had wonderful memories of friendships and adventures through scouting. And I have two daughters. So when they got to early elementary age a few years back, I was looking for something like that in the community. And I knew a lot of things had changed and been in the news with some of the scouting programs out there. So I wanted to make sure it was something that was aligned with the Christian worldview and the way that we were raising our daughters, and started asking around. And you know how sometimes God gives you those 3 nudges to do something? I had never heard of American Heritage Girls, but as I asked, I had 2 different women that I really respect mention the organization. One had known someone whose daughter was in a troop growing up, and someone else had heard it mentioned on Focus on the Family. And so I started looking into it, and I mentioned it when I was picking up my daughter from preschool at St. Paul Lutheran Church. I mentioned it to the director of the preschool, who is the pastor's wife there, Lori Jenks. And she really encouraged me to start a troop. And that ended up being our host church that we've had now for 5 years.
That is fantastic. And what a wonderful opportunity for the girls of that congregation and of the community as well. What were those early days like? How was it starting this troop from the ground up, I suppose?
Yeah, there's a lot of support that comes from the national AHG organization. And I think it's interesting that maybe not everyone has heard about AHG, and yet they have troops in all 50 states. And once I went to their website and typed in find a troop, there was one actually just 15, 20 minutes north of where I live. And my older daughter and I went and visited a meeting. And that was at a Lutheran church 20 minutes north of here. And the pastor's wife there was leading the troop and was really supportive as we were getting started. So we identified, you start by creating a board of 5 adults who want to commit to the faith statement and the overall mission of AHG to really create young women of integrity, and do that through service to God and family, community, and their church, and to their country. And I liked that tie of AHG having a community service element, a religious element, and those typical scouting things of getting out there camping and learning new skills and having fun with friends.
How has your involvement in your girls' involvement in American Heritage Girls been helpful to you and your family and the other families that you get to know through AHG?
For us, it's been wonderful to meet other families across the community that we might not have known otherwise. Our troop draws from maybe 6 or 8 schools in the community and some of the surrounding towns where girls drive in to be part of the troop. So you just get to broaden your group of friends, and some are a part of the church and some are an opportunity to share the gospel and invite them into church with us. And so we like that it's family friendly, that many of our events we can include parents and siblings, and that within the troop, we welcome girls from 5 years old all the way to 18. So they get divided into levels of Pathfinder for those youngest, Tender Hearts in early elementary school, Explorer for 9 to 12-year-olds, and then that Pioneer and Patriot age group hits junior high and high school. So it's something that when I started as a leader, I could include both of my daughters once my youngest got, out of preschool and into elementary, and they can grow and do that together. And we've really seen those leadership skills develop as the girls get older. We started with a lot of young ones and the moms and dads having to plan everything. And just this summer, we've had a workshop already that we hosted at St. Paul, which was a theater badge. And it was some of the older girls in the troop who put on the complete workshop and then a performance at the end of a modified version of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And the leaders could sit to the side and watch them do that. It's really rewarding to see them build those capabilities over the years.
Now, you mentioned a theater badge, which sounds super fun. What are some of the other badges that girls can earn through AHG?
Yeah, there are over 100 badges, and they divide them into different frontiers to focus on different areas of life skills. So in the outdoor frontier, we've done badges like camping, fire building and fire safety, archery. So all of the sort of typical outdoorsy scout skills you might be looking for. But we also, within the craft section this year, we tackled a needle arts badge. And that was a place where we did draw on perhaps the older generation at St. Paul to help us out, who knew about crocheting and embroidering and knitting and things like that the girls were finding their way through. And then to tie into, making hats and scarves that could be donated to shut-ins at nursing homes or sent overseas through Operation Gratitude.
I love the idea of the cross-generational interaction and learning something from an older generation as well. Did any of the girls find that they find something they really enjoyed in I think you said it was needle craft? I'm using the wrong word here.
No, you're
needle
fine.
art. Thank you.
That needle arts badge. It has been fun to see. Some of the girls. They got done the basic requirements, and that was enough, knitting for them in their lives. And yet we've seen some leaders and some girls continue to make additional hats and scarves and really just enjoy that opportunity to keep their hands busy. It makes me happy as a mom to see kids keep their hands busy on something that's not electronic, and just to stretch their mind in a different way.
What have you learned in your experience coordinating this troop?
Something that really stands out to me is that kids like to serve and volunteer when they're given the opportunity and the right example. And I think it has been interesting. Our troop completed over 500 service hours this year, despite COVID challenges. We had to find, safe and available ways to do that. And often when we're reaching out to organizations offering our services, we find that we don't meet their minimum age. And we have to convince them how capable our girls are and that they're interested and willing. And the feedback we get once we're there and serve is always so positive. And it's interesting to watch girls energetic to pick up trash or to fill food bags with meals for the heartland. And they come and rake leaves, at St. Paul when it's fall cleanup time, partnering alongside the adult church members. We volunteered one Saturday a month all through this year, through winter in Iowa, at a local soup kitchen who was distributing their food outside because of COVID restrictions. And we still had girls there on Saturday mornings, again, compiling boxes of food and handing those out to folks in need. So I think it has surprised even me, and it's fun to pass that on and broaden the opportunities for youth to serve in the community, because if you tell them they can and show them how, they do, and they love it. And it's been just one of the most positive parts of our troop.
Hey, you mentioned that AHG is about raising up girls of integrity and talking about all of these service opportunities that these girls are having. How have you seen the girls in the troop grow over these last few years that the troop has been in place?
Within the unit structure that AHG has, it gives an opportunity that at the end of each of those program levels, the girls will bridge to the next level. And if they're pursuing a level award, think Eagle Scout, but we have one at each level as we build towards that Stars and Stripes main award at the end of high school. They complete a board of review where they have several of us from the troop board as well as one of their direct leaders. And we ask them those kinds of questions. And it is so rewarding and surprising to hear the girls even reflect on how they've grown. How has AHG helped them get closer to God, and how has it stretched them? We have done a lot of Bible studies, and this year as a troop, we pursued the religious award that AHG added. And so one of the things that we had the girls do for that is create skits associated with Bible verses that were demonstrating specific virtues within the AHG creed that we were learning about, and perform those skits for the younger girls in the troop. And so we heard feedback in our board of review, and we asked them, how does AHG help you get closer to God? And they mentioned that performing or watching those skits really helps lock in those Bible stories, that bravery of Daniel, that, friendship that David and Jonathan had, different things that we showed them through the Bible and that they acted out, that really helps write it on their heart as they're interacting with the rest of the troop and going out into life from there.
Kara, how can we learn about troops in our own communities, in our own neighborhoods, if we're not in Ames, Iowa?
Right. So there are troops in every state, even troops overseas associated with soldier families that are overseas. So AmericanHeritageGirls.org/find-a-troop. Or if you go to the AmericanHeritageGirls.org website, you'll see a button to find a troop. You can put in your address or your zip code, and it will show you troops in the area and give you a form right there to fill out and contact those troops. And they would love to hear from you. And we would love to see more and more AHG troops formed to give these benefits to Christian families and to Lutheran churches all over the country.
Kara Warme, she serves as the troop coordinator for American Heritage Girls Troop IA2016 at St. Paul Lutheran Church in Ames, Iowa. Kara, thanks so much for being our guest on the Coffee Hour today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.